Arvind Sangar is ready. And we are very grateful and thankful to him that he's accommodated a last minute interview request. And Arvind, long live dollar. I mean, that seems to be the only chorus which I'm getting from everybody. But how long will this dollar strength live?
Well, look, it looks like the Fed may not be on as easy a cutting path as expected. So, you have a U.S. economy that is doing well and inflation, which is showing signs of resurgence. As long as that lasts, that setup lasts, dollar is going to remain well bid because the rest of the world is, and including India, is growth disappointing. So you have, good growth in the U.S. and you have inflation, and inflation coming up and Fed putting a pause on things. That is the underlying reason for the dollar strength. And until something changes, either U.S. growth starts to slow down, or U.S. Inflation starts to look better, I think dollar will remain well supported. I'm not saying it's going to strengthen from here, but it'll remain supported.
Okay, point taken. So yes, that exact trade is working out when it comes to the US markets. But what's the anticipation there with respect to earnings as well, Arvind? Because of course the US markets have been doing quite well. There's a lot of money which has been flowing into the treasuries now, because if you look at the US 10-year yield, that spiked to a level of around 4.8%. In the US market itself, do you anticipate a big shift from equities to the treasuries?
Well, market has started to correct, reflecting that concern. And I guess we'll find out. The quarterly earnings are just starting. But my expectation is that this quarter's earnings, our December quarter, fourth quarter earnings in the U.S. should be relatively solid. I don't think any surprises lie in store. But the real question becomes, there's so much hype and so much multiple expansion in a lot of the tech companies, especially with the AI, hype out there, that it doesn't take much. If interest rates are going up, the long-term earnings growth that is expected starts getting discounted at a higher discount rate. And when it starts getting at a higher discount rate, the stocks can correct easily. So it may not be earnings disappointment. It may be a multiple correction that happens in the Indian market. I mean, in the U.S. market, that'd be a problem. Contrast that with the Indian market. And in the Indian market, you have an earnings disappointment problem. In the U.S. market, if you're talking about that, I think the earnings is not the concern, it's the multiple that's the problem.
So let's talk about the India markets as well then, Arvind. While, of course, the earning adjustment is taking place and one can see the heat coming in from the global shake-off as well, like was the case yesterday. But tell me, what's a good hiding place in India?
Well, I think the good hiding place is some large cap quality companies, although everything is for sale. But, the mid and small caps have seen a lot of speculative excess. I've been feeling this for months and saying it for months, that the valuations were no longer attractive. And if growth is slowing down, then why am I paying such high multiples for companies in India, right? So I don't think that the fiscal third quarter earnings are going to be anything to write home about. I don't think the GDP growth will be a little better than the September quarter, but not hugely better. Clearly, growth is slowing down. And I am somewhat of a different view than what you've been just discussing. I don't think RBI cutting rates is the single magic wand. It'll help. But I think you need private sector confidence. The fact is that everybody's crying about the fact that that government capex has come down. But where is private sector? Why are we not seeing more business confidence? And why are we not seeing more, neither the consumption side nor the private sector capex is stepping up to the plate and kind of delivering growth. So I think the Indian market has a growth, I think it's a slowdown, a mid-cycle slowdown, but hopefully things come together. Inflation is becoming a little bit more contained. But, as you guys are talking, oil could be a little bit of an upsetting the apple cart, but hopefully the earnings, start to recover, the economy starts to recover as we get into fiscal 26.
Okay, point taken. On that note, Arvind, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for making time and speaking with us today.